so many newcomers. What do you see so far? What do you like so far? What do you have concerns about so far?
Yeah, and obviously a new time in college basketball where this many new guys is fairly normal. But I really liked, we've had the guys here all summer, the 2 sessions of summer school where everybody was here. I've really enjoyed these guys, and I like a lot of things about them. Competitiveness, sense for the game, athleticism, speed. So a lot of things I think to like, and we're anxious to get started.
2 years ago, you had some transfers that worked out great. Last year, you had some transfers not so great. What's the difference?
Yeah, good question. Well, I think that's just a little bit part of the new way that it works. The transfer or the recruiting window in the spring is pretty hectic. You have to really be prepared and go into it with the exact idea of what's going on, who's available, when these guys come available, the spots that you have. Certainly the compensation you can award guys. And so it's not like before where it wouldn't be as if a freshman came in who was highly recruited and he didn't end up meeting your expectations, it would get lost a little bit along the way, the impact that him not living up to the expectations is. Whereas with the transfers, especially when they're older, they really have a lot of responsibility and a very quick time to try to prove themselves. And, not to pin it on the transfers, but it's just that's another part that's very different.
How would you describe this team based on what you know so far?
Yeah, I would say good speed, competitive, very good sense, and I feel like strength in numbers. I feel like our depth of talent is very good. We have had guys, Mike, Colin, and Mikkel, the 2 freshmen that we redshirted, who have been in the program for a while, who have a certain understanding. I think that's really positive. And I think our depth of talent is good.
Could you share your thoughts on Mike, who made a nice step
Yeah.
in the second half of last year? Obviously, will be a leader.
Yeah, I think, to have a 4th-year senior is unfortunately rare, but it's great. And he's really a tireless worker. That's probably one thing that's very impressive about him. He has a lot of physical gifts, a lot of overall gifts, but he works very hard. He's conscientious. He really wants to be good. He's very unselfish player, almost to a fault. But I think there can be a lot drawn from that that's positive for the rest of the team. I think that, certainly we need him to have a really good season, and he's put himself in position to do that because of how hard he works.
Thoughts about the schedule?
Yeah. Which one?
Overall.
Okay. Again, I was looking at some of the schedules today throughout our conference, and Dayton has a very good schedule, and one that I feel like reflects the schedules we've had over the course of time. Probably a few more home games. I think they're playing Georgetown at home and Florida State at home. But the rest of our league, it really feels like scheduling is very challenging, and mainly in the way of getting high major teams to play, home, away, neutral. So, we're working very hard. As I've said for the whole time I've been here, the first thing we do is try to get as many high major games as we can. And I wish there was some way for us to do that. But this year, last year we only had one, and this year it didn't work out that way. So we're working on it for the future, but it's a very challenging thing. I am happy that we have home games, so many home games. And the conference schedule, I've only glanced at a little bit, but, looks like, the buys are in a good spot. and certainly there's certainly the 2 games at the VCU and the other round robin, or the other opponents we play twice, should be great.
Mike said you promised them a much different summer this year after
Yeah.
last year. How was it different, and what were the reasons behind it?
Yeah, I think really it's mostly about just how things have changed. Summer being able to work with the guys in the summer is relatively new. Of course, everything's in light speed now. But since the portal has happened and there have been so many new guys, our summers used to be really about player development and getting the guys in and lots of shots and, doing things together and really becoming a team. And but there was a little bit of patience with it. And I just don't know if you can operate that way anymore. And so this summer we kind of said, our first game is November 5th, and we're preparing for our first game in June, because we need to get ready and we need to have these the newer players as up to speed as possible. So we worked really hard. We did a lot. I hope it's paid off and put us in a good position. But more, it's just about the times. And if we would have done as much as we did when Jacob and Grant or Kevin Anderson were returning for their fourth year, I think that would have been taxing and a little bit too much. But now I think it's the way that we have to go.
And how much have you had to change personally about the way you recruit, about the way you coach,
Yeah.
about the way you develop? Because it's not like it was, for
Yeah.
so many years here when you had guys from you.
Yeah, I think you do have to make some changes. I mean, you don't want to lose who we are as a program. We work really hard on having a particular way we do things, play, the way we practice, the way we meet, the way we lift weights, everything. So you don't want to compromise too much, but it is different in that, when you had a freshman who you really thought was going to be a good player but wouldn't help the team this year, there's a way that you're going to coach that player and try to be demanding and really looking to the future. Now you might have 3 or 4 new guys that really need to help you in a few months. And they have learned a different way and maybe multiple different ways. And so you have to, how can you get them to do this as quickly as you can without being too impatient with them? Because they are talented and they're good players and they have produced at a high level.
How do you go about incorporating Jaden on the court now?
Yeah.
Which is good news, and
Yeah.
what type of impact and how quickly can it be?
Yeah, so great news about Jaden, and he's really handled himself amazingly well. Andy McPherson, our trainer, has handled it incredibly well. And so Andy has a calendar put together that we've all taken a look at, and he basically approved where he's going to do certain things each and every day to get caught up. It's not an injury per se where we're easing him back into that, but also he's missed a fair amount, so we want to make sure that physically and just in terms of his stamina that we bring him back. I think it's not too late right now, which is positive, but he can really have an impact, and obviously a unique player for Richmond, but somebody who can really have an impact and have such a commanding presence in and around the basket.
Chris, were you seriously concerned about the possibility of not having them this year, or were you optimistic for that?
Both. I was very concerned. These things are so delicate, and the main thing is we had to support Jaden and make sure that we were doing everything we could. One, to guarantee he's as healthy as possible, and 2, explore every opportunity we could to have him either show that he could play or that we would take care of him if he couldn't play. It was concerning, and it's obviously hard for a guy to go through. I mean, he's playing basketball his whole life. So I think he handled himself well, because as much as that would be disconcerting to someone, I think that he really stayed. Well, he stayed as a great teammate. He was always here. He didn't take personal days to deal with the issues that he was having. He really poured himself into the team.
6 weeks after the first game, what's the biggest concern you have right now?
Well, I would say, memories of last year. That's probably the biggest concern. I would say, in a way, of course you're worried about everything. And before you have played anyone else, you can, was it your defense was great that day and your offense couldn't, or was your offense terrible? And so I would say that I do like the depth that we have, and a concern is just trying to make sure we have. I do feel like as many coaches say before the season begins, we're going to play more players, and just to make sure we can do that in a way that's aggressive and complete, and not just make sure we see that through. And that's probably something that I'm concerned about. And then a little bit just defensively, I think we have some good individual defenders. And a pretty good concept, but when you get into Division I basketball, it's just really hard. You have a great defensive team and give up 80 points, and you didn't necessarily play poor defense. So just when getting our defense to the level that we can compete, at a very, very high level in 6 weeks.
Yeah, overall, confidence going into the season, the expectations
Yeah.
that you are putting on yourself.
Yeah, I feel I really like the team that we have and the guys that we have. I think that there's talent from top to bottom. I feel like the guys who we brought in who were older, Will, Jaden, AJ, really, really good guys. Some of the other older guys, Mike, Colin, just really good guys who are in the gym a lot, guys who want to play. So I feel good about the group, working with the group. And I think that we can be very good. I think we do need the time, but we are really pleased with where we are right now, having put in a hard summer. So, I feel positive about it, because every day we hear the energy has been very good, and the guys have been committed and energized and very hardworking.
Is there any extra comfort level with having so many new faces on the roster since you've had a couple of seasons now of so much turnover?
Yeah, you need to have guys. We're really working on it, and I hope there are some things that could happen, just in terms of how these rules end up and what goes on with salaries and things like that, where I think it could swing back, and we'd really love for that to happen, and we'd love for Richmond no matter what happens across the country, we'd love for Richmond to be at the forefront of that, because I just think that's the school that we are, the community that we are, the program that we are. It's really, really positive when we have returners and guys who are committed to the program for multiple years.
So many new guys, Mike. There's a lot of mystery surrounding what you guys have. How would you assess based on what you've seen so far?
Yeah, I see a lot of proven leaders from their respective schools, talented scorers, guys that can really make an impact at this level, guys that can contribute to winning. We'll have to see in November how we gel out on the court, but so far in practice, it's been a great unit to be a part of.
Last year, your scoring increased. You seem more confident, you're more productive. What happened there?
I just trusted my craft. I've been here for 3 years. I've had my coaches drill into me, score, and it finally gelled. I just trusted myself, trusted what I've been able to put out there, and it showed.
Could you take a guess at who this team's leading scorer will be?
I want to say me, but if I'm not picking me, I'll say there's a lot of guys that can put the ball in the hoop. Jaden Daughtry's up there, Will Johnson's up there, AJ Lopez. Those are my 3 picks. I don't know if I can narrow it down to one.
You've been through this gelling process before. How did this one go to gel with all these new guys? How different was the summer?
It's been remarkably easy, actually. Coach Mooney prides himself on recruiting guys and the character, and then the basketball piece is certainly a huge part of it. But as the leader of this team, and as the guy that likes to get guys together and make sure we're gelling team chemistry-wise on the court, it's been remarkably easy. I've loved seeing us come together on and off the floor, doing team activities, but also, just getting together on weekends and whatnot. And it's been a fun time so far.
It seems like on the court, the summer was a little more intensive, intense than maybe past summers. Is there some minor reason for that?
Past season performance certainly is a huge indicator of that. We were not happy at all with how last season turned out. Coach Mooney certainly let us know that this was going to be a tough summer, not like any summer we've had in the past. But we really worked. We're at a position right now where I think we have a great command of our offense in a way that seasons past we were kind of struggling in November and December. Like, do we really have it put together? I think so far as of September, we look great.
Collectively, were there 2 or 3 things that
That's tough. I think leadership was a huge part of it. Delani going out last year was a tough thing for us because he was our only proven leader, willing to speak up. So a point of emphasis this year has been me, as also with Mikkel, with Colin, some of the veteran leaders that have come from other schools, to really make their voices heard on the court with some of the younger guys that might not be in this system for too long. I think that's a huge part of it, but also just trusting yourselves. I mean, we're all proven basketball players. We all can put the ball in the hoop. We all trust each other. So again, it's just about, can we put it together in November?
You actually voiced your frustration a couple of times during the season last year. You said you used it a little bit as motivation this summer, but how might that manifest itself on the court this year?
Yeah, I think that intensity that I was talking about was really shown this summer when the cameras weren't on. We put in a lot of hours in here on the practice court, developing our offense, putting our defensive principles in. I think just the intensity we're playing with is far superior than what it was last year. I think our attention to detail is a lot greater. Our command of the offense, command of the defense is a lot greater. I just think we have better players this year as well. I think we have guys that are really wanting to win in their final year of basketball, including myself.
On the court, how do you mesh Jada in now? Stuff he wasn't doing, I guess,
It'll be a process. I'm not fully in control of the protocol with Jaden coming back, but him getting cleared yesterday was a great win for our program. So gradually we'll phase him into the offense, the defense, etc. But once he's a full go, it's really going to be shown on the court. He's a great player.
Mike, in the era of transfer, you're the guy who stayed all 4 years, same program, in the Atlantic 10. Got to walk us through your decision to help build this program, expand what you're doing, cause you to stay at Richmond all these 4 years and try to build something.
I think a lot of the time, especially recently with the revenue sharing stuff, top of mind is money. It's the dollar signs, is how much are you signing your contract for. For me, it wasn't that. I came in at a point where NIL was non-existent, where I came because of my character, my basketball ability, but also who I am as a person. And over these 3, now 4 years, I've really seen myself reach new heights and who I can be as a person, as a leader, as a basketball player. And I just felt like I owed it to the school to repay what they trusted me with.
Follow-up to that question. After basketball's all over for you, way down the road, potentially, what's the plan for Mike?
You said after basketball? I'm certainly working on my golf game, as Jason said, but probably some sort of business role, something in finance, sales. I've had some career realizations recently, just like maybe I want to go into public policy, like work for the government. I don't really know. I'm hoping that basketball is a part of my future for the next amount of time.
If you get a hold of it, how far can you go?
I've been playing a baby draw now, so that's been adding like 10 yards, like 320, 330. Yeah, there's some guys out here that'll vouch for me.
Yeah, post-official practice, general excitement level for you and the guys to kind of have this clean slate this season.
I couldn't be happier. I mean, this group of guys is so talented. We all care so much about each other. I think just watching this practice, listening to the practice, you'll realize that there's an intensity and a vigor about us that is unlike the last year's team. I think we're really talented and we're ready to put it on the court.
Mike, you led the team in 3 points last year. Plans to give you more opportunities to come out there this year?
I'm going to keep shooting them. Coach has been telling me he wants me to make 50 this year. That's been the voice of every workout is, Mike, make 50, 50, 50. So I'm going to try and make 50 this year. Yeah.